It is my privilege to introduce Javier Evelyn. Javier is a visionary CEO and founder of Alerje, a digital health and emergency medicine company revolutionizing support for over 220 million families worldwide affected by food allergies. His passion for innovation is matched by his commitment to diversity in health tech, exemplified through his role as a founding member of MedTech. His list of accomplishments also include being part of the Ernst& Young EAN cohort, Harvard Business School's Young American Leaders Program, recognition in Crane's Detroit Business 40 Under 40, and as a Google for startups, Black Founders Fund awardee. With a rich background in healthcare technology, Javier's journey from Illinois State University graduate to a trailblazing leader in health tech is truly inspiring. Please join me in welcoming Javier.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be connected, and I'm super excited to share my story today. And my name is Javier Evelyn. Just call me Javier. That introduction doesn't really serve justice. The real good stuff is in between those wins, right? I really want to kind of share more about that. Really, before kind of getting into that, I want to share my why. I think it's really important to know more about the why. Healthcare is incredibly challenging. So if you take the initiative to put your superpowers, your skill sets towards this, you should really have that in the back of your mind at all times, right? Starting off, I'm from Chicago originally, as mentioned, and I didn't really have the ambition to get into anything related to healthcare, let alone tech. I came across tech randomly. I had a buddy that was a software developer, and it was as simple as him telling me how much he made. I had an aha moment and said, I too want that superpower. Then taught myself how to code, failed miserably on a couple of different projects, and eventually got my chops working at a health insurance and PBM, where I learned all about everything from, I would say building what I call the triangle offensive healthcare for the most part. Eventually, I had another crazy idea that I told my wife after, having a career working in sales, working for family-owned insurance agencies. You'll see about myself, and I hope it resonates with you all as well too. Having that non-traditional background, I think also is a bit of a superpower in my opinion. My background again comes in the software development background, yeah, but also small business, working in sales, customer service, doing some nonprofit background stuff, and getting a chance to review great companies on the come up through the University of Michigan and some other folks. So really want to kind of lay that out there before kind of getting into a bit of a conversation. Um, Before getting started, I think we all got to give ourselves a little bit more credit. Be kind to yourself, because no matter how many wonderful and amazing people you'll hear talk, not just today, but just in life, no one has it all figured out. And that's something that you don't really get until you start having conversations with folks that you respect. And it is not a matter of losing respect for those folks, but you just kind of see the human aspect of that individual. They have families, they have ambitions just like us, and they make mistakes along the way. So one of my evergreen phrases that has served me well, that's helped me level up without any kind of, I would say, remorse of not doing this the right way or saying this the wrong way, is taking the L as a lesson and not a loss, right? And that allows you to not beat yourself up too much, and allows you to grow in an infinite way, in my opinion, and based upon my experience. Um, Healthcare. So why am I in it? Obviously, I have a ton of food allergies personally, and really just wanted to kind of see a different way to carry epinephrine, auto injectors, and other forms of support tools for that life-threatening condition that impacts a ton of people. I think we're all here on this call because it impacts everybody that we know, including ourselves. About a fifth of the GDP is spent roughly, if not more, since the pandemic in this space, and there's so many different ways to get involved. I truly do believe that it's not just a buzzword, DE&I. It's getting a lot of interesting conversations on social media. But the reality is that the majority of the United States is going to be black and brown. And that's a good thing, because ultimately, if you're in this space, you have a bit of I would say, a cheat code, and a canary in a, gold, in a coal mine in a good way, in terms of how to navigate the good and the bad coming up in this industry. And it could be overwhelming, right? This is an old list, and obviously you can insert AI and other things here, but no matter where you go, or where you pursue your superpowers or apply them to, I think it's incredibly important to focus on the why, and let's talk a bit about more how to do that, right? How do I get started? I kind of know my why. I've talked to a couple people that are in the space for the most part, but I'm still kind of trying to figure things out for the most part. So one, I think it's incredibly important to, one, if when you can, if you see somebody doing the work that you're doing, a company doing this type of work, you're following these individuals on social media, I think it's all about adding that value up front. A lot of times, I'm one of those folks as well too. You knock on a door, whether virtually or in person, to someone that can help out. And not being clear about the value that you're looking for is one problem we'll talk about in a bit. But showcasing in your ways, you won't believe you have ways to support folks that are more senior than you or have more experience, but your unique experience is definitely a superpower. You're going to hear me say superpower so much, so forgiveness in advance, but I believe that we all have that, right? One. Secondly, I think just being action oriented in the way that you move is incredibly important, right? So as the industry evolves, you're going to hear the doom and gloom of AI in healthcare and other forms of the industry, but I think by being proactive in terms of how you engage, you can do as passively as leveraging social media. You got to be a little bit more proactive, in my opinion, all the way to attending some of the industry domain experience or the events that make sense for your space. No matter what, show the value up front when you can. It could be how you navigate social. Just double down on the things that you like to do naturally, and you do pretty well. And it tends to help to open the door towards those conversations as well, too, right? I think it's incredibly important. While yes, you got to be the smartest person when it comes to what you're working on technically, whether you're an engineer, designer, whatever the case is, you're a clinician. But the soft skills do matter, right? In an age where a lot of technology is starting to get inserted into a lot of processes, who you are definitely is going to bubble to the top. So by way of how you integrate or how you start to interact with these individuals, whether it's somebody in corporate America that you work in the same space for, same company, I think there's a lot of different ways to go about it. When I used to work in, I guess, corporate, I would say that it was sometimes you want to go home after work. I get it, but I think it's also a win to at least strategically once a quarter try to go to those happy hours, go to that event. No matter if you drink or not. I think it's really just about getting face time in a low pressure, I would say, environment that can really help you get to know that other person and vice versa. Most importantly, you might like the same sport, same song, small things that are the ways to kind of really meet somebody on a human level. But beyond those like top level things, do you know how to navigate technology or technically, right? There's lots of new tools that help you be more efficient. And I believe that these are the soft skills of tomorrow, but working on these skills, we can talk about that for an hour plus. Could be a game changer for you early in your career. There's a song that I borrowed this from, so forgive me, y'all, but I really do believe that. It goes down in the DM in terms of opportunities. There have been countless DMs that I've sent via whether it's Twitter, whether it's specifically LinkedIn, that have helped to really bring value, not just to what we're trying to bring to the table, but awareness to what we're building from a company standpoint as well, too. Can't say that enough. But to wrap it up, I mean, it's really a couple high level pieces without getting into your industries. Be about that action. Being action oriented is really going to get you in the door, and you will be remembered as opposed to the passive one, right? Liking a comment's not enough, but getting feedback and vice versa is. Remembering your why is incredibly important. Healthcare is tough; it's going to get tougher, but if you have that, you're always going to have something that's going to keep your gravity above ground at all times. And lastly, be kind to yourself because no one has all the answers, and quite frankly, down the road you'll think you will, and you're the best ones in the industry are the ones that are humble enough to know that as well and pass that information to you as well as in addition to what we're doing as well too. So that's all I got at this point. I look forward to the one-on-ones. You have my information. Please connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm not the fastest to always respond, but hopefully I can add some additional value in the upcoming conversation as well.